Now, to update quantities, we'll be using two different methods. We've got the update button. If we go back to our browser, we've got the update button, but people may also simply change the value and hit enter. So we obviously have to take these two events under consideration. So let's go back to our editor, open our browser, go to our JS folder and open basket.js, as this is the file which will trigger all these operations. So let's close the browser to give us a little bit more space. Let's scroll right to the bottom and we're going to create a new function. This function will be called function init binds. Well, why did I call this function this way? Because it's initializing all the bindings, basically click bindings and key presses and so on, for specific elements on the page. So first of all, we're going to check if element with the class update basket is found, so dot length is more than 0. Then if we copy the name of this element, and we use bind function, and we want to bind click to this function. Once someone clicked on that, let's execute the function called update basket. We haven't got this function yet, but don't worry, we'll create it very soon. Okay, next we check if element with FLD quantity QTY is found, dot length is more than 0. Then if we copy the name of this element as well, we want to bind key press to it, and we want to execute the function. We pass E as the element here. Okay, now variable code equals, and now we're going to use two different ones. There's obviously problems between compatibility, Internet Explorer, i.e. Firefox and all other browsers. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper into it. We're just going to have to do what we're going to have to do. Basically, Internet Explorer supports key code, keyword, and it doesn't which, where Firefox supports which, and for key code it returns 0, and all these kind of problems, obviously. So we use e dot key code. If it's found, then use e key code, which means if browser supports it. Otherwise, use e which. So a code will be passed to it. And now if code equals 13, sorry, double equal sign, because we're comparing. 13 basically is enter key on the keyboard. Then we want to run update basket function. Okay, so now that we've got these two calls, let's create this update basket function. Obviously, before we move any further, we need to init binds. We need to execute these functions that it actually executes when the document loads first. Okay, so after this, we create this new function, update basket. So now, first thing we're going to do, we'll check, we do actually for each loop. So frm basket, which is the ID of our form, of the basket form, then colon input, which means all inputs, each, which is a loop inside of the JavaScript. It's a jQuery loop. Then we have function. Okay, inside of this function, first we're going to create the variable sid, and this will equal this dot attribute id split with the hyphen. So basically, sid will be we will assign to this variable, we'll assign the ID of the input field, of the specific input field, and we're going to split it using a hyphen. So as you may remember, if we go to our basket, if we scroll up, our input fields here have ID, quantity, then hyphen, and then is ID of the specific product. So this is when we're splitting this up, and obviously this will become an array. 0 index will be QTY, and 1 index will be ID of the product. Then we create another variable called VAL for value, and again this time we populate the value from the field. So obviously, in other words, whatever is inside of this field, if someone changed their number from 1 to 7, the value will be 7, obviously, so we want to get this value. Now we're going to make an Ajax call. Ajax, opening curly brace, obviously inside of the normal braces. Okay, now type, we'll use post, then comma, URL will be /mod, we go into our modes folder, basket quantity.php, colon, data, comma, colon, and now data will pass JSON array ID, which will be SID1. As I told you, this is our array. Index 1 is basically the ID of the product, and then we have quantity colon val, which is value populated from the text field, from our quantity field. Then on success, we want to execute the function. On error, we'll simply execute the function, only this time we basically display alert saying error occurred. Okay. Now success, inside of the success function, we'll call refresh small basket function, which we've already created, and we also create in the next video refresh big basket function. So that's our update basket function done. So we're calling this function twice, whether you click on the update basket button or you click enter inside of the quantity field. So all this is covered. We call this function. Obviously, in the next video, we're going to have to create refresh big basket function to refresh our main basket.